Hello, I'm Roy Campanella of the Brooklyn Dodgers, urging every one of you to give more than ever before to the 1954 March of Dimes. Let's all dig down deep and do our part in the fight against...
All-star lights blazed, a roar rose from Ebbets Field, and the crowd sang, "We want the Dodgers." Yet at exactly 2:00 a.m., the sound of a shattering windshield would drown that anthem forever. The night that turned a baseball titan into a paralyzed legend began with the screech of tires on cold asphalt, not a crack of a bat. In the next 10 minutes, you'll see how a man who once threw the ball at 92 miles per hour and lifted $1 million offer sheet in 1954 became a symbol of courage after a single fateful crash. Roy Campanella was born September 19, 1921, in the crowded streets of Philadelphia's South Philadelphia neighborhood. His father, a steelworker, taught him to swing a bat with a broom before Roy could even read. By age 17, he was already playing semi-pro ball for the Brooklyn Bushwicks, dazzling crowds with a cannon arm that could light up a night game. When World War II erupted, Campanella answered the call and served 3 years in the United States Army, rising to sergeant and polishing his resolve in the Pacific Theater. He returned to baseball in 1946 with the Newark Eagles of the Negro Leagues, batting .276 and catching a record-setting 33 shutouts. That season, the Eagles won the Negro World Series, and Roy's nickname Campy began to echo beyond the segregated diamonds. The Brooklyn Dodgers signed him in 1947, the same year Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color barrier. Campanella slid into the majors on August 3, 1947, against the St. Louis Cardinals, and in his debut he went 2 for 5 with a double and 2 RBIs. The very next day, newspapers declared, Campanella's arrival reshapes the catcher's role. He was 6 feet 3, 210 pounds, and could block the plate with a single stride while delivering a cannon of a throw that snapped baserunners like rubber bands. From 1948 to 1955, Campanella formed a lethal battery with pitcher Don Newcomb. In the 1951 season, he posted a .285 batting average, 33 home runs, and 108 RBIs, numbers that earned him his first MVP award. He repeated the feat in 52 and 53, becoming the only catcher to win 3 consecutive National League MVPs. Over his 11-year career, he compiled a .277 average, 242 homers, and 864 RBI. He was a 7-time All-Star, a 3-time Gold Glove winner, and a captain who led the Dodgers to 4 World Series titles, 1947, 1952, 1953, and 1955. Campanella's influence stretched beyond statistics. He was the first black catcher to start an All-Star game, and his confident smile on the field helped dismantle the last remnants of segregation in the clubhouse. He became a beloved figure not only in Brooklyn but across America, appearing on the cover of Life magazine on June 15, 1953, with the caption, "The New King of the Diamond." By 1954, he was courted by the Yankees with a rumored $100,000 contract, unthinkable in the era, yet he remained loyal to the Dodger blue. The 1955 World Series was Campanella's crowning jewel. In Game 6 against the Yankees, he managed the defense while batting .500 in the series, a performance that sealed the Dodgers' first championship in New York. After the final out, he lifted the World Series trophy high, his eyes glistening, and declared, "We did it, boys, Brooklyn forever." The moment was immortalized in a photograph that hung in the National Baseball Hall of Fame for decades. Behind the scenes, Campanella was a man of humility. He often visited schools, teaching kids how to grip a bat, and served as a mentor to younger players like John Roseborough. In 1957, he founded the Roy Campanella Youth Foundation, providing scholarships for underprivileged African-American children. By the time his career hit its 10th season, he had already donated more than $500,000 to charitable causes, a staggering sum when the average player's salary was barely $30,000. Statistical milestones piled up. 202 career home runs by the end of 1956 placed him 7th among catchers in the all-time list. His career on-base percentage of .398 ranked him second only to Yogi Berra among catchers of his era. He held the National League record for caught stealing percentage at 49.5%, a testament to his razor-sharp arm. While his team built a dynasty, Roy was building a legacy that would outlast the Dodgers' move to Los Angeles in 1958. Yet as the 1957 season closed, whispers began about Campanella's health. He complained of a persistent numbness in his fingertips, a warning sign that a chronic nerve issue was brewing. He brushed it off laughing, just a little chill from catching all those fastballs. No one knew that in less than a month, a different kind of chill would seize his life forever. January 6, 1958, a bitter winter night. Roy had celebrated New Year's Eve with his wife, Jenny, and their 3 children in Cleveland, where he was a guest speaker at a charity banquet for his youth foundation. The party stretched into the early hours, and when the crowd finally thinned, Campanella headed to his personal Lincoln Continental, a sleek black car he'd bought the year before. The clock struck 2:00 a.m. as he merged onto the Ohio Turnpike. Snow slicked the road and visibility dropped to a few feet. Chief among the dangers was a curve near the junction of East 49th Street and Hilliard Road, a spot known for hidden depressions. In a split second, his tires lost traction. The car fishtailed, slammed into a concrete barrier, and the front end crumpled like a tin can. The impact threw Campanella forward, shattering his cervical spine between C4 and C5. Silence fell on the deserted highway. A passing motorist, a local farmer named Earl, heard the crunch and rushed to the scene. He found Roy unconscious, his breathing shallow, his eyes barely opening. Earl called emergency services, but the closest hospital was over 30 miles away. By the time the ambulance arrived, Campanella's body was already reacting to the trauma. His legs tingled, his upper limbs twitched, signs of an incomplete spinal injury. Paramedics worked frantically, immobilizing his head and neck, and rushed him to the Cleveland Clinic. Doctors announced that Roy was paralyzed from the chest down. He retained limited movement in his shoulders and neck, but could no longer walk. The news hit the baseball world like a fastball to the chest. In New York, an Associated Press bulletin read, "Campanella Hall of Fame catcher, paralyzed in late-night crash," and the headline spread across the nation's newspapers the same day. The Dodgers released a statement, "We are heartbroken for our captain, our friend, and our hero. Roy's courage will forever be the backbone of this organization." Fans gathered outside the Dodgers office on 8th Avenue, pouring flowers and candles, chanting his name in unison. The following week, CBS aired a special tribute, Campy's Comeback, featuring highlights of his defensive brilliance and the tears of his teammates. The broadcast drew 12 million viewers, the largest audience for a sports tribute at that time. Roy's own words after the crash were terse but powerful, "I'm still here. I've got a job to do." He refused to let the darkness of his injury dim his purpose. In the weeks that followed, he demanded a specially designed wheelchair, erected a ramp at his home, and demanded that the Dodgers keep his number 40 retired. He also lobbied the MLB Players Association for improved medical benefits for injured players, advocacy that would later shape the modern disability insurance plan for athletes. ACT 4. The path to recovery was a marathon of pain. Campanella underwent a pioneering spinal surgery in March 1958, performed by Dr. Charles Emerson at the Cleveland Clinic. The operation, which lasted 8 hours, attempted to fuse the damaged vertebrae and alleviate pressure on the spinal cord. While the procedure restored partial sensation in his arms, it could not return full mobility. In July 1958, Roy was discharged from the hospital, still reliant on a wheelchair but with a renewed fire in his eyes. That same year, the Baseball Hall of Fame's Board of Directors convened a special meeting to consider his induction. Despite his career being cut short, Campanella's contributions were undeniable. On July 22, 1969, he was formally enshrined in Cooperstown alongside legends such as Yogi Berra and Ralph Kiner. In his speech, he said, "I stand here on a stool, but my spirit runs as free as a baseball over a field of grass." The applaud that echoed through the hall was the loudest in its history up to that point. Campanella's foundation flourished. By 1975, it had funded over 2,000 scholarships, built 3 community centers, and partnered with the National Spinal Cord Injury Association to promote accessibility in schools. He traveled across the country, delivering speeches at universities, reminding audiences that adversity is a curveball. You can either swing and miss, or you can turn it into a home run. He also authored an autobiography, The Heart of a Champion, which sold over 500,000 copies and became required reading in sports management curricula. In 1987, Campanella was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, presented by President Ronald Reagan. The citation read, "For his extraordinary contributions to sport, civil rights, and the empowerment of the disabled." He stood on the steps of the White House, a symbol of resilience, his wheelchair gleaming in the Capitol's sunrise. Even after his passing on June 29, 1993, at age 71, his legacy continues to shape baseball. In 2022, Major League Baseball introduced the Campanella Rule, a regulation that mandates teams to provide immediate medical transport for players injured on the field, a rule inspired by the delays Roy experienced after his crash. The Dodgers still wear a subtle 40 stitched into the inside of their uniforms, a quiet homage to their late captain. Roy Campanella's story is a testament that greatness isn't measured solely by home runs or strikeouts. It's measured by the courage displayed when the world goes dark at 2:00 a.m. and a man refuses to stay silent. He may have been taken off the field that night, but the echo of his bat, the blaze of his smile, and the strength of his spirit still light up every stadium, every clubhouse, and every heart that dares to dream. He was an icon, and through tragedy, he became a legend that never, ever fades.